Yeah. Call us up, 866-WOW1-WOW, 866-969-1969. Phone lines are wide open as we wrap up this thing. Jesse Joyce is hanging out. What's up, man?
Yo, how you doing, man?
You were great today. You always come in with great stories.
Thanks, man.
Are you going to write
I think I got about 6 more appearances of great stories.
That's what I was wondering, because it's like you always, luckily, you space out your appearances, so you can be like, yeah, you remember last time I was in, we were talking about when I blacked out, and they were like, tell me about that again?
Yeah,
you can redo them that way.
Yeah, exactly, right. No, I mean, like, I guess less zany shit happens to me now that I don't drink anymore. But
yeah.
I still think I fall into good stories.
You think you have a book in you?
I might, yeah.
It just seems like with all you got the zany shit from drinking, but then, like, you travel so much.
Yeah.
And you go to so many weird places. Like, I feel like when you came on, it was one of the first times, if not the first time, and started talking about Alaska.
Right.
That was like right off the bat. It's like, what is this guy have going on?
Yeah.
So it's like you've traveled to so many weird places and you've interacted with so many people through writing that it would seem like there's a book in you. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe. So I would think that's a thing that happens when I don't have any other options. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I don't think you really stop. You put the brakes on life to write a book. You know what I mean? Like,
we have all these writing gigs for you. No. Doing my book right now.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you writing about? This is what you would be writing about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what your book
Do this
should be
first, and
about.
it should be in the book.
Yeah.
Do you know Henry Phillips? You know who he is?
No.
He's a really funny dude. He's one of my best friends in the world. He's a comic from L.A. And he had this movie called Punching the Clown. It went to Slam Dance and stuff. It's like in the independent circuit, it like did really well. And it's basically all like kind of just like slightly ratcheted true stories about his life, you know, and it's really dark and funny. And then immediately after the movie came out, this amazing thing happened to him that would have been fucking perfect for the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just like, God damn it, till we redo the... Anyway.
And add a scene at the end of it or something. I guess you got to wait until you feel like your experiences are really starting to dry up.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like when you're kind of winding down in life, I think that's when you put out the book of stories.
Because you see like wrestlers put out books and they end up having to put out like 3 of them. Like Mick Foley did like 3 books, or like Booker T put out a book where it's like it stops as he starts wrestling and you go, what? What?
I forgot that you're a huge wrestling dude. Did you know I roasted the Iron Sheik a couple of months ago?
I was about to ask, how did that go?
It was a disaster, but I really destroyed. But it was almost not fair because like I was really kind of, you know, I mean, the roast experience, you know, as opposed to.
Did a lot of guys there not have...
Yeah, they were relatively unprepared, a lot of them. They thought they could just go up and like sort of shit talk, that's the same thing, you know, as roast writing, you know, or as roast jokes, but it's not at all.
Like you have to, like, they're not crafting jokes. They're just being like, look at this fucking asshole over here, right?
Yeah. But yeah, you can, it's on the internet. You can just type on YouTube.
The whole thing is?
Joyce. No, just
my
my
your
set.
set.
Yeah, just Iron Sheik roast and it'll pop up. But fucking my favorite detail, Brutus the Barber Beefcake was one of the people.
So who's on the dais of the Iron Sheik roast?
Names per se were the Iron Sheik, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Gilbert Gottfried, and then and then it was kind of like a drop off. Then there's this guy who's like famous in Canada, Spencer Rice from the show Kenny and Spenny.
I saw that. What was he like? Because he's on the show Kenny versus Spenny, which is like one of the biggest shows in Canada.
Yeah. He's a fine guy, you know, but I mean, he was woefully unprepared. Like he basically like came up and like uncrumbled a napkin from his pocket, you know, and then just like, you're a fag. You know what I mean? Like that was like the gist of his joke. You know what I mean?
You really have to write that down?
So he kind of, yeah.
So
he kind of bombed a bit, but he was a nice guy, and apparently that show is super popular in Canada. But
and did you do it in front of comedy fans or wrestling fans?
Kind of both, but mostly wrestling fans.
Because I would wonder, like, if you're trying to do roast jokes, are you only getting over if you have like little stupid inside wrestling references?
No, I don't know a goddamn thing about wrestling. I'm thrilled not to. And in fact, most of my jokes were making fun of the fact that wrestling fans were sad virgins. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. But it was a lot of wrestling fans, and the way you know is there was this fucking idiot who was on it. His name was Jason Sensation. Do you know who that guy is?
I remember him. Yeah, he did stuff a while back.
Yeah,
he does impressions of wrestlers. Right?
Yes, exactly. And so it's like if you're gonna buy the premise that everybody here is celebrating the Iron Sheik, they had him come out. as Hulk Hogan, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he's the nemesis of the guy, so like this is not going to go well. You're just firing everybody up, you know?
Yeah.
And incidentally, he didn't look like Hulk Hogan. He was basically more like a Dog the Bounty Hunter with jaundice, you know, some sort of like yellowish, like fucking homelessy, long-haired thing, right? And he came out and like he goes into the character, so then everybody else who's playing along has to like fuck you, like so. There's just this cacophony of like 500 people in this theater just going like fuck you, fake, you know what I mean? And like then it's like now Jesse Joyce, you know, like I had to go up after. And a fight broke out between him and this shithead who was like a local radio guy who bombed.
And
wickedly.
where did this take place?
At a theater, like a rock club theater in Toronto.
Oh, okay. So back in Canada.
Once again,
some weird shit happens to you in Canada.
Yeah, totally.
So, and he's fighting with Iron Sheik or Jason Sensation?
Neither. This like radio dick went up. He was just the worst. He was like the zany morning zoo shithead.
Like the man cow of Toronto.
Exactly. Yeah. So he goes up and just bombs badly, and he tries to do the thing that Bill Burr so masterfully did, which is own the bombing.
Yeah.
But he wasn't qualified to own it. You know what I mean? Like, so he was just like, well, we're going to fucking sit in this, you know? And it was just like, so he did like more time than he should have, with people like just ripping their hair out furiously, like, fuck this guy. Like they were so mad. And like that just made him stay on longer. And it was just a train wreck.
Like the reason it worked for Bill Burr
is because he's a talented, fucking amazing comedic genius.
And you can't sit in it and then be like, well, your guys are just going to boo harder, so I'm going to stay. Bill Burr turned the crowd around, but was still so spiteful that he said, now that you're all cheering me, still, fuck all of you. And that was the genius of it.
Right, it was masterful. But, I mean, that comes with Bill Burr being 20 years into comedy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
of course.
This fucking idiot has no idea what he's doing and thought he could really sort of recreate the same magic.
It's always weird when radio guys think that they're comedians.
Yeah.
Because like, we sit in a room with nobody and just talk shit.
Right.
And you can always get callers to call up and be like, you're the man. We don't have to go in front of people who are reacting immediately. They're like just staring at us saying, there's nothing around me. I'm here for you and to entertain me.
At the end of a show, collectively, people will go, that overall was funny.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you're living joke by joke.
And you're driving or you're doing whatever. You're doing something else while you're listening to the radio.
Yeah. Right.
And then at the end of the day, you're like, I enjoyed that show.
Yeah, you were funnier than silence.
Right,
I mean, like,
exactly.
That's what you were. Yeah. As opposed to at a comedy club where it's like, I am paying to watch you be funny.
Right.
You know, and I'm going to give you instantaneous feedback.
People basically listen to the radio so they don't fall asleep while driving. So they don't die.
Exactly. Yeah. You were a much funnier alternative to me running off the road and flipping my Mercedes.
But you're right. In a comedy club, it's like you're living joke by joke.
Right.
And you're looking the people directly in the eye.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot harder to get somebody to laugh looking at them.
Yeah.
Than to do it this way. Like, if you don't laugh, well, good. We're just trying to have a serious moment anyway.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
On the radio, you could do anything.
Yeah. So anyways, so this guy just bombed so badly, and then the rest of the show, it got so bad that Brutus had to get up and throttle him physically. Like, that's how he got off stage.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
He grabbed him hard by the neck with his giant meaty paws and like threw him into his chair. And then everybody cheers. And there was this like, that was dark because I was like, I might get hit by Brutus the Barber Beefcake for these jokes. You know what I mean? Like, he might punch me.
And like with wrestlers, they're not, I mean, they're entertainers, but it's like, okay, I figured out one basic thing works. The whole premise of pro wrestling is you figure out one basic thing that makes the crowd go nuts, and you just do it over and over over.
Yeah.
So like when Brutus the Barber Beefcake drags some guy off stage and gets a big reaction for it, in his head, he may be saying, I'm going to do that to every comic that goes up on stage.
Exactly, right. So that was concerning.
Yeah.
And then, so, like, that guy then, that douchey radio guy, rather than, like, just fucking leave like he should have, you know, he chose to, like, then sit in it for the rest of the show, just because he's
Which just ruins it for everyone.
It totally did. And then, so then when this dude comes up, he took a shot, the jaundiced Dog the Bounty Hunter comes up, he took a shot at that radio guy. and the radio guy then comes up and like yanks his wig off, like yank, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is a fucking douche move. You know what I mean?
Of course it is.
As lame as this impression was, it's like, don't fucking like break the fourth wall with it,
Yeah.
Like, you just can't, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's really an unprofessional, shitty move. So then that guy has no recourse but to punch him in the face. And the two of them start punching each other, like on the stage. For real. And they had to be like whisked off stage. And that's literally how I went up.
And
I
you're
went
just
up
sitting there going like, I have to really rethink this strategy of I'll take any gig that pays me.
Well, no, it's like I really wanted to, like, I love doing roast so much. Like, I really wanted to nail it. And it's like I knew I was going to, but it was just like, why are you putting so many obstacles in the way of me fucking getting this thing back on track,
Yeah. How long was it before you had that kind of confidence where you could walk into this shit show and know I'm still going to be able to nail this?
Well, with roast specifically, it's just the fact that, I'm kind of in the upper echelon of, like, if...
You've written for every major roast.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And, like, a lot of the jokes that I've written are ones that get quoted and stuff. So it's like, I know I'm good at that.
Right.
Like, I might not be good at a bunch of other things, but that's a thing.
And if I can just do that again...
Yeah.
Which I did.
Right.
Like, it works for every roast.
So I'm not worried about, like, the quality of... And the beauty of roast is that's the one... like sort of last bastion where people just like literally appreciate pure joke writing.
Right, like, like a joke. It stands alone. It's a line, set up, punchline,
Right.
Here's the joke.
And if you did that if you were that surgical about it in stand-up, you would look like a phony. You know what I mean? Like when you're doing stand-up, it'd be weird if your jokes were that sort of sharp and precise.
Right.
But with roast jokes specifically, that's what they're designed to be.
Right.
It's like just appreciation of joke writing in its purest form. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm not worried about, so like, that's all I gotta do is just like present these jokes that are infinitely better than the...
You have no competition.
than the monkeys fucking football that were on before me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not worried about that.
Right.
But anyway, so then at the end, so it went fine. I think it's pretty funny. It's on YouTube. But, at the end of the whole thing, Brutus was clearly like fucked up on something. You know what I mean?
Huge surprise.
Yeah. Well, did you know that story? How he got busted in the he was working at a toll booth in the Boston subway station?
I think we did a whole bit on that on O&A. Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Did a whole bunch of coke on him or something.
Yeah, but the worst part is like he left a bag of coke after his shift in the subway.
Like your Brutus Beefcake, the fact that you're caught working in a subway is bad enough.
Exactly.
Now you're busted.
But what's even worse is they shut down, they thought it was an anthrax scare. They shut down the whole subway system.
No, it's just Brutus the Barber Beefcake's drugs.
Right, yeah. It was just so brutally embarrassing. So anyway, so whatever. So he has a problem. So then, like, there's like a little backstage bar area where, like, like the performers could like kind of go and
you
mingle
use that
before
term
the thing.
Loosely, yeah.
Yeah,
performers,
right. Yeah, exactly. So that's where we convene beforehand. It's fucking November in Toronto, so everybody's got jackets and bags and bullshit. So like we just kind of throw them around the back. After the show's over, I go back to get my things, and there was like a bartender whose job it is just like chill there and have beverages for the comics or whatever. And I come up to him and I'm like, hey, because I'd left my coat behind the bar. And I was like, hey, do you mind if I just leave this? And he was like, no, totally, whatever. So I go back to get, and he goes, dude, I'm so sorry. And I was like, what? And he goes, Brutus, the Barber Beefcake took your jacket. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, I tried, but you got to understand, like, I'm not going to have... See, he was like, dude, that's not your jacket. And Brutus is like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's my jacket. And he's like, no, for real. It's the other guy's. It's not your jacket.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is my fucking jacket. And he was like, okay. It's like, I'm not going to get into a fight over this fucking guy's jacket.
With Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah, some stranger. So it's like, sorry, guy, fuck you.
So your jacket got stolen by Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
So I got to chase. So I'm like, what? Like, it was like, when did he leave? And he's like, I don't know, like 4 minutes ago. So I like just book down the street. Like I'm running down the street and I catch up to him like 4 blocks later. And I'm like, dude, and like there's no recognition. And I was like, I was just on the show. I was just on the show.
One of my many fans, I'm sure, approaching me on the street.
Yeah, and then he goes, oh, yeah, the roast.
It just happened.
He was leaving the roast, but it was like, oh, yeah, that roast I did. And it's like, that's where you're coming from. So I go, you're wearing my jacket. And he goes, what are you talking? This is my jacket. And I was like, it's not. Just put your hand in the pocket. There's keys to a Nissan in it and a hotel. It's my, and he takes out, he goes, oh fuck, whose jacket is this? I'm like, it's mine. It's my jacket. That's why I brought this to your attention.
Yeah, remember the beginning of the conversation? Right. 5 seconds ago?
Exactly. Yeah. He's like, "Where's my jacket?" And I'm like, "It's probably back at the roast." He's like, "Oh yeah, the roast." Like, that didn't happen, but it's fun. So he and I go back now to the roast back area, and we're looking around for like 20 minutes. He's kind of furious he can't find his jacket or whatever. He fucking then...
It's the one with the giant shears in it.
Here it is. It is... Okay, by the way, I don't know if you saw what I walked in with. I was wearing like a top coat, like a black Joseph A. Bank fucking like suit top coat kind of a thing. That's what I traditionally wear. It's kind of a Wyatt Earpy kind of a whatever.
Yeah,
fucking
works.
That's the jacket that I wear. We find his jacket. It's a fucking poofy red snow jacket. Red. Like fucking candy apple red poofy jacket. And I'm like, in what world could you possibly...
Right.
Like, he was so convinced.
In the world where, the roast. That's what world.
I was totally expecting it to be a similar top coat, because that happens a lot. You know, whatever. Everybody was the same kind of coat.
It wasn't even sort of similar.
Not even... You couldn't mistake him if you tried.
John in West Virginia.
Primetime Sam Roberts, the premier broadcaster of broadcasting.
Thank you, John.
Hey, the one question that's weighing on all our minds, did the Iron Sheik piss his pants?
That's a great question. Jesse Joyce, did the Iron Sheik piss his pants?
No, to the best of my knowledge, he didn't, but he
didn't
really...
have enough Becks then.
What? Yeah?
He loves his Becks.
Oh, because he did here.
He pissed his pants in the O&A studio. He got excited.
I mean,
and when you go to like a live show that O&A do now,
right?
And you know they do signings after. Their promo picture that they sign is Opie, Anthony, and Jim with the Iron Sheik
with the wet spot,
with the wet spot in his pants.
That's terrific.
Well, Jesse, I do have to tell you. You know, Valentine's Day is Friday, don't you?
I do.
I've been meaning to talk to you about this.
I'm not going to be part of this live read.
What? No, it's not a live read, Jesse.
Oh, okay.
It's an amazing Valentine's Day secret that I have to tell you about.
Oh, all right, I'm in.
Yes. It's a secret. It's Pajamagram.
God damn you.
Yes, Pajamagram has a gift that you and your Valentine are both going to love. Pajamas with hidden secrets. Hidden secrets. They start with the classic pajamas, the kind of soft PJs that every woman loves. Then they add in a secret that only the two of you are going to know about. These pajamas, they include a unique design that has hidden access points in the top and bottom to allow for some hands-on fun. Check them out now, pajamagram.com. Tons of styles to choose from. You can get a pair of sexy tank top PJs that flip up to say, "Kiss me." Just imagine her flashing you with that message. There's the Sneak a Peek Romper, which is a one-piece shorty pajama with a drop seat. Oh my God. Check out Hidden Secrets at pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs and they'll help you pick just the right one. With Hidden Secrets, she gets all the cuteness and comfort she's looking for, but with a secret and playful twist that you're both going to love. Order Hidden Secret pajamas and get ready to play on Valentine's Day. Every Pajamagram includes free gift packaging, so you don't even have to wrap overnight, and Valentine's Day delivery guaranteed. Visit pajamagram.com or call 1-800-GIVE-PJs. Just something I've been meaning to tell you.
I didn't listen to a word of that.
What?
Because E-Rock came in and gave me the picture of the Sheik with the wet spot. It's fucking hilarious.
I mean, you couldn't. And the weird thing about the Iron Sheik being in here with that wet spot was, we were talking to him, and you know, it's an easy interview with the Iron Sheik. You bring up Hulk Hogan, you bring up the Ultimate Warrior,
you know what?
You bring up B. Brian Blair, and he just starts shouting about these people.
Yeah.
So like he starts shouting, and I notice I'm videoing him, and I'm like, that's like a little, it's like a little wet something in his crotch area of his pants. And then he starts yelling more, and I'm like, I think that got bigger from the last time I saw it.
Expand?
Yeah, and then as the show went on and as he shouted more, it wasn't like he's pissing as he goes. It was like every time he yelled, a little bit more piss came out.
Or jizz.
Or jizz.
Possible.
Maybe he was jizzing.
Exactly.
He was so
excited.
He was yelling about his 8-inch cock the whole time, or 9-inch, I don't remember.
He gets so excited every time he screams about Hulk Hogan, he ejaculates.
Yeah, that could be it. There's actually a photo online from the 80s of him wrestling Hulk Hogan, and this is true. He's got a full-on erection in his tights. and he's standing over Hogan, and he's fully erect in his little tights.
That's great.
Let's go to Steve in Myrtle Beach. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Mr. Sam Roberts?
Not too much.
Hey, I had the pleasure of working with Mr. Joyce there in Myrtle Beach. I do comedy as well, and I emceed for him. And
Real dick, huh? Real asshole.
That's kind of,
stole your jacket.
What?
What?
That's kind of what I wanted to call about. I mean, you know, I see a lot of pricks that come through. But,
this is not cool.
Jesse's not one of them.
There
you go. Thanks.
He's actually, I mean, trust me, we see, because I'm local, so I do a lot of emceeing for them.
Right.
But he's one of them guys that when he comes in, a lot of headliners are dicks, but he comes in and he kind of talks to us, us new guys, and I do this as a second job, so I still have a full-time job, but, we all go through that when we first start out, that, you get an audience that just fucking won't laugh at anything.
That's good, man. All right, thanks, Steve. He keeps talking. We got to go. We don't have a lot of time.
He's saying great shit about me.
Well,
Why
everybody knows you're a nice guy. Okay, it's been unless you're Bruce the Barber Beefcake, in which case all he wanted was a jacket that wasn't red and puffy anymore.
Why does this guy keep hassling me about my jacket?
You can see Jesse Joyce Friday at the Stand and in Waterbury, Connecticut. I'm telling you,
same evening. Yeah,
you
it's
are
be
working.
Tough. That's going to be tough to pull off, but I'm going to do it.
All of his dates are jessejoyce.com. Follow him on Twitter at jessejoyce. Thank you for sticking around, man.
Dude, hey, good times. Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Anytime you want to stop by.
Sweet.
You can. Also, Valentine's Day is this Friday.
You son of a bitch.
And for about the price of a dozen roses, you can do something that you'll love even more. That's right. This year, you can score major points. Call 1-800-829-BEAR or go to VermontTeddyBear.com now and send a handmade Vermont teddy bear. Picture this. You're Bear Graham. You Bear Graham her at the office. Have you ever Bear Grahamed somebody at the office? I don't know if you're allowed to do that. It seems like an HR thing.
I don't hang out in offices, nor do I. I'm very unfamiliar with Bear Grahaming.
When it arrives, she'll be so surprised, and her coworkers will think that you're the greatest guy on the planet. Exercise your romantic freedom with the new Right to Bear Hugs Bear. Make Valentine's Day sizzle with the I Love You More Than Bacon Bear. Crazy for her? Send the Nuts for You Bear. Or express your undying love with the Zombie Love Bear. For the ultimate hug, send a big hunk of love bear. He's 4 feet tall and guaranteed to get a big reaction. Check him out at VermontTeddyBear.com. Overnight and Valentine's Day delivery guaranteed. Send the creative alternative to flowers this year. Call 1-800-829-BEAR or go to VermontTeddyBear.com. Thanks again, Jesse Joyce.
I don't know what you just said, but
we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, buddy.
Goodbye.
And it's basically all kind of just slightly ratcheted true stories about his life, and it's really dark and funny. And then immediately after the movie came out, this amazing thing happened to him that would have been fucking perfect for the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just God damn it, till we redo the... Anyway.
And add a scene at the end of it or something. I guess you got to wait until you feel like your experiences are really starting to dry up.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like when you're kind of winding down in life, I think that's when you put out the book of stories.
Because you see wrestlers put out books and they end up having to put out 3 of them. Like Mick Foley did 3 books or book.
I mean, I guess less zany shit happens to me now that I don't drink anymore. But I still think I fall into good stories.
You think you have a book in you?
I might,
It just seems like with all you got the zany shit from drinking, but then you travel so much, and you go to so many weird places. I feel like when you came on, it was one of the first times, if not the first time, and started talking about Alaska.
Right.
That was right off the bat. It's what is this I have going on?
Yeah.
So it's you've traveled to so many weird places and you've interacted with so many people through writing that it would seem like there's a book in you. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, maybe. So I would think that's a thing that happens when I don't have any other options. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think you really stop. You put the brakes on life to write a book. You know what I mean?
We have all these writing gigs for you. No. Doing my book right now.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you writing about? This is what you would be writing about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what your book should be about.
It should be in the book.
Yeah.
Do you know Henry Phillips? You know who he is?
No.
He's a really funny dude. He's one of my best friends in the world. He's a comic from L.A. And he had this movie called Punching the Clown. It went to Slam Dance and stuff. It's in the independent circuit, it did really well.
Booker T put out a book where it's it stops as he starts wrestling and you go, what? What?
I forgot that you're a huge wrestling dude. Did you know I roasted the Iron Sheik a couple of months ago?
I was about to ask, how did that go?
It was a disaster, but I really destroyed. But it was almost not fair because I was really kind of, I have the roast experience.
Yeah.
As opposed to.
Did a lot of guys there not have...
Yeah, they were relatively unprepared, a lot of them. They thought they could just go up and sort of shit talk, that's the same thing, as roast writing, or as roast jokes, but it's not at all.
Yeah. Call us up, 866-WOW1-WOW, 866-969-1969. Phone lines are wide open as we wrap up this thing. Jesse Joyce is hanging out. What's up, man?
Yo, how you doing, man?
You were great today. You always come in with great stories.
Thanks, man.
Are you gonna write?
I think I got about 6 more appearances of great stories.
That's what I was wondering, because it's like you always. Luckily, you space out your appearances, so you can be like, yeah, you remember last time I was in, we were talking about when I blacked out, and they were like, tell me about that again.
Yeah,
you can redo them that way.
Yeah, exactly right.